At the time of recording this video, I had a conversation with my pastor, and it went along the lines of, Pastor, I feel like God is closing one season in my life and opening another. Now, I know we're not supposed to get wrapped up in feelings and nothing like that as Christians, but really that was the only way I could explain it to him at the time. And he went on to tell me, he was like, well, what are you asking me for? I'm like, well, Pastor, I need some type of direction. I don't know where to go with this. So he directed me to read Jeremiah 18, and everything changed after that. I want to share that with you. Let's go. So just to give you some context here, for weeks before I spoke to my pastor, I felt like God was giving me confirmation about closing one door and opening another. You know, at that time, I was around 3 years in to becoming saved, becoming a Christian, and loving every bit of it. The highs, the lows, praising him in the valleys, as well as the mountaintops, all of it, right? And I went through some hard times, as do many of us, in order to come to God. Usually it's because we hit rock bottom and we don't have nowhere else to go. So we almost resort to God almost as a last choice when he should be the first. But either way it goes, God, Jesus, doesn't look at that, doesn't look down at us for it. He receives us with open arms. Amen. So when I spoke to my pastor and he told me to read or study on Jeremiah 18, I did just that. I own a business where I deliver dumpsters, and a lot of my time is spent behind the wheel delivering these dumpsters, right? So my prayer closet is the cab of my truck. I listen to a lot of sermons there. I listen to the Bible. You know, obviously we don't want to read and drive. That's going to be all bad for everybody involved, right? But all jokes aside, I listen to a lot of stuff in there, especially, you know, things that touch me in a certain way, right? We all know them motivational pastors and stuff like that, but when you start being in the word, you can almost discern what you need to take from something and what you don't need, right? So I've been feeding my spirit. The Lord's been, you know, blessing me with all types of different things happening in my life these 3 years, man. He's done so much for me. I am truly grateful, but I do see one door closing, one door opening. So I'm reading Jeremiah 18, and this is all about the potter's house. Are you familiar? If you are, drop it in the comment. God tells Jeremiah to head down to the potter's house, that he's going to speak to him there or reveal something to him there. And this is me paraphrasing, and, you know, I'm just, for the sake of the video, I encourage you to go read Jeremiah 18 yourself. But he goes down to the potter's house, and the potter is forming a pot out of clay on a potter's wheel, right? And the potter he's turning and forming this pot, but he's not happy with where the pot's at that moment, right? So he's, you know, I'm imagining he's pulling things out, maybe sticks, stones, adding water, more clay, but he's forming it into a different pot. Now, this chapter goes on to talk about other things, about the Israelites and all of those things, but I'm going to focus on the potter's part of this because that's where God spoke to me the most. And I think this is the most popular part of the chapter. You know, mostly everybody knows about the potter's house, but what he's spoken to my spirit was something different, and I hope it blesses you, but I truly believe he allowed me to witness a miracle. And I'm gonna get to that in a second. It's gonna be worth it, I promise you. So the potter is forming a pot out of this clay, right? And I started reflecting on that for a little bit. As do all of us, we see that the potter has the clay in his hands, right? And he sees that it's not right, doesn't like how it's turning out, so he turns it into something else. The reflection part of this that most people get, right, rightfully so, is that, God sees that he has us in his hands. He starts changing us and molding us into something bigger and better, right? Into what he sees fit for our lives, a better path, into a better vessel. So when I started listening to that and reflecting on that, I was like, I see what everybody else see, but God, give me what you want me to see out of this. What am I supposed to see out of this? And I started reflecting some on, why did he send Jeremiah to this potter's house? Why, out of all places, are you speaking to him at a potter's house? I mean, I get it in them times. That's possibly was a big deal, right? Because, plates and everything was, potter's house was possibly the spot to get all your all your fine silverware and everything else, pots, pans, whatever you used at that time, right? But what was he using? He was using clay, right? And what we see is that the transformation comes when it's in the potter's hands, when he's moving the potter's wheel. There's movement going on. There's some shifting that's going on. He's putting his hands in there. He's pulling things out, adding more clay in, adding water, and all of these things are happening. Isn't that the Christian walk? And this happened in Old Testament. So Christianity, for a sense, wasn't born yet because Christ has not come yet, right? But this was for believers in God, and it stood the test of time until now. But what is it before that? If we go before that, what are we if we're not in God's hands? Before all of that process, we're just clay, right? It's just clay. There's no movement. The potter's not trying to take anything out. I mean, you probably look like a ball or something like that. You get where I'm coming from. We're just there. There's no movement. There's no change. There's no him molding you or nothing like that. And then I started to think like, well, God, that sounds a little messed up, right? What is it that you're not in our lives at that moment because we're not in your hands? But then I was told to look even further back. I was led to look even further back. And if we start looking back at what clay is made of two parts, pretty much: dirt and water. And we all was made from dust, which dust is a form of dirt. And God is the living water. And them two ingredients can come together to make the clay. Isn't that beautiful? He revealed that. But that's not the miracle there. This is just a reflection he gave me. You see, at the moment when I was reflecting on this, I was going through that transition time to where I'm like, it's time to close this door and open up this one. I believe God is telling me that this season is over with and another season is about to start. And every time something like that is going to happen to us as a Christian, you better believe that the enemy is going to try to keep you from becoming what God designed you to be, what he created you to be. You see, you're becoming a bigger threat. But when you're strong in the things of God, he only has the power of suggestion. But man, that's a powerful tool just yet. Because if he could just get you to doubt, if he could get you to stall, you're still not getting there. So at the time, I'm wondering, I'm like, well, is God telling me to end this this season and start another one? Should I move forward? Should I stay where I'm at? I'm all over the place, and God is not the God of confusion. But I'm going through these things in my head. Is that you? Is that you that you're second guessing some things and, but not sure if you should move forward or not? I challenge you to get into prayer with God. And I also challenge you to be patient. All right? Because sometimes he's speaking to you, but the question is, are you listening? Are you listening to God? So at this point, I'm like, all right, God is moving in my life. God is making all of these things happen. And there's no doubt that he's moving in my life, but the doubt is there because not of myself, but because the enemy is having me. Is it that? Am I overreacting? All right. So at one point, my mother, she called me. She said, David, can you hurry up and come over here? And yeah, that's my name, David. I go by AKA Prophecy over here on the channel, but you can know my name. It's cool. So can you come over here? I'm having a bad cramp in my leg. I need some help with this. I'm like, all right, Mom, I'm on my way. I went over there. Her medicine was upstairs. I went upstairs, grabbed her medicine, came down, rubbed it on her leg. Everything was cool. She got up and she couldn't walk. And her heel was like, it was really messed up to a point she couldn't even put pressure on it. She couldn't put pressure on her heel. And I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? I mean, that has nothing to do with your thigh, the cramp you had in your thigh. She went on to tell me that she heard this thump or snap in her thing. I thought she broke her heel or something. My mom's older. So I'm like, Mom, you got to go to the hospital. And she refused. I had Bible study that night. I'm like, Mom, I'm like, I'm going to come back with some Motrin and I'm going to come back with my girlfriend, Jennifer, after Bible study. We'll come back and we'll check on you. And we'll decide then whether, you're going to go to the hospital or not, because we got to figure this out. So Bible study, come back later on. She's even worse. She's on all fours, all of this stuff, trying to sit down on the couch because she couldn't put pressure on her heel to sit back. So she was like holding on. And I'm like, Mom, you got to go to the hospital. Again, no, I'm not going to the hospital. So we went back and forth. Eventually, she convinced me to wait till the morning. And I helped her up the steps. She couldn't make it up the steps if it wasn't for us. I get her to her bedroom. And I'm keep talking about the hospital. And she looked at me when my mom never told me before. She's like, where's your faith? Pray over me. And at that moment, I'm starting to notice that when God or when the Holy Spirit is guiding me and I hear something and I feel it in my spirit, I act on it. Right now, let's do it. I told my girlfriend, come here. We prayed over her foot, tucked her in, left. The next morning, she called me. She was like, I'm downstairs drinking coffee. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, my mom's over here spinning me because she don't want to go to the hospital. And I'm like, I gotta go and check. I went over there and I went to go check. She was walking just fine. Now, this isn't the miracle either. But you would think that that's enough for me to be like, okay, God, I seen you do this. I seen you heal my mom in a matter of hours, because that wasn't no ibuprofen or no Motrin that I gave her, over the counter, whatever it was to take the pain away. She literally couldn't walk. We thought her foot was broken and she was fine the next day. That was God. When she was like, where's your faith at? That was God. I told her that. It brought tears to her eyes. But yet, I still doubt. So I'm reading through this chapter of Jeremiah 18. I'm taking down notes. And I'm like, Lord, he wants me to teach this on a Thursday night. Help me write down the notes. Help me see what you need for me to see so I can, speak the words that come from you and not from me. And that's where I come up with the whole clay part and, dust and water and all that. And them things were great, but I'm reflecting on it. So I went to a job. My guys were there. We were unloading, or actually loading up some scrap into a dumpster. This was after hours. I wasn't even supposed to be there. My guys worked till late. I had Bible study that night. And I was like, okay, I'll stop over there and pick up all the scrap. I got an empty can on my back. I'll go over there. So I went over there. My guys are downstairs in the basement tearing everything up, man. Like anything that was scrap was getting chopped up, whatever, to get out the basement because the hallways was narrow. But I'm going through my notes because I'm thinking I'm about to teach on this that night. I'm going through Jeremiah 18, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this. I don't know. I was thinking of the message I just told you. I'm like, I don't know if that's good enough. I don't know, God. Like, again, the doubt. So scrap is coming up the base from the basement. We're loading up the can. I'm inside the can. The guys are handing me some stuff and I'm throwing it in, making sure everything fits in so we could try to fit in as much as possible into this dumpster. There's about maybe, at the end of this, there's maybe a 3 foot by 4 foot space. My guys are in the basement and they're like, hey, boss, there's one more thing in the basement. And I'm like, well, is it going to fit? Well, I don't know. It's shaped kind of weird. We don't know. We want you to come check it out. So I go downstairs to the basement and I walk down and I start seeing it from the steps, but I walk up on it. And what is the thing that's sitting right there in front of me? It's a potter's wheel. Here goes the picture right here. It was a potter's wheel. It gives me goosebumps right now. See, you got to understand that this is like nearly impossible. But for God, all things are possible. Let me give you some stats right here. It is 1 in 292 million for you to hit the Powerball. All right? 1 in 292 million for you to hit the Powerball. All right? Gambling. But what does it take for you to hit the Powerball? You got these series of numbers, you got to hit them all. That's pretty much it to it, right? Even though the odds are great, it's a row of numbers. It's pretty much simple. All the numbers match, you got whatever it is in the Powerball. Now, I'm not saying this has got them type of odds. And it is a potter's wheel that, there's not 1 in 292 of them. It's not that. But it's the sequence of this. And I had to write this down to give it to you the right way. So, studying Jeremiah 18, a very specific verse, okay, about a potter's wheel, okay, doubting my notes that same night that I'm studying about the potter's wheel. During this clean out of this basement where these guys, when my guys go in there, they're ripping everything apart. Nothing's safe. You know what I mean? Nothing's safe. They're trying to get everything out of there as quickly as possible and as efficient as possible. This potter's wheel was in this basement for decades. Decades. It belonged to the person's father. All right? It was the very last item left untouched. And it could have been the first one. It could have been chopped up. It could have been anything else they did to everything else to get it out the basement, and it wasn't. And it happened the same night where I was studying these notes for the whole week, where I was doubting myself and I needed some type of confirmation. And I ended up running into a potter's wheel just a few minutes after I ended up closing my notes and doubting them. That is not coincidence. That's confirmation, family. That's a miracle to me, if you ask me. That's God reaching out and saying, you're on the right path. You ain't pay attention when I used you to heal your mother. You ain't pay attention all these other times that I've used you as a vessel. Let me go back to the clay, family, to bring this full circle. Okay? God made us from dirt, right? Dirt, water, clay, right? And we're not nothing until God puts his hands on us, right? And molds us into what we're coming back to the potter's house, molds us into what his creation is, not ours, his. But how does that happen? We have to be pliable. We're submissive to the potter's hands. The potter is doing what he wants to the clay, not the clay becoming what the clay wants to become inside the potter's hand. The potter's doing that. And what ends up being the end product? A vessel. A vessel to where you could carry water and pour it out to other people. Family, I hope and I pray that this message touches you the way that God impacted my life at that moment. Because everything changed for me that night. Everything changed for me. He has already moved in my life and I had experiences with God. But that was a confirmation to me saying, yes, one season is closing, one season is ending, but the next one is opening and I'm still here, son. What's he saying to you? I'm still here, daughter. I'm still here, son. Okay? He is with you, family, always, from the beginning, from dust, water to form the clay. He's with you, and all the way to where he makes you into a vessel. Amen? So I pray this blesses you. I pray blessings over your life, and most of all, I pray that you have relationship with Jesus. Till the next one. Peace.